Recently, I decided to do a minor renovation to this room, and in the process, my bookshelves became very dusty. And since they are already very dusty and in a desperate need for a deep clean, I decided it might be also a good idea to reorganize it because it's been a while. I think it's been almost 2 years actually since I last organized the bookshelves. And as of right now, I don't really have a plan about what I will do or what I will organize because I do have way more books than I did the last time. And I am running a bit out of space in the main area, like my books. So I know I probably need to bring some of the books down and figure that out. And that's what I will be doing with you. But the first thing I need to do before I even start cleaning these bookshelves is to remove the rest of the books and cleaning the books. I don't know, I think on the shelf it might not seem like we have much because usually here's where I keep my TBR, and I actually already removed my TBR from the bookshelves. I removed before I started the renovation so I could read them. And yesterday at night I removed a part of my books. They are around here. You can't really see in the shot, but I already removed and cleaned some of my books. This would usually be more of my contemporary literary fiction, romance kind of novels. Here is most of the sci-fi and dystopias that I own in a physical copy and that I actually like. And here would be the classics I own and that I kind of sort of like. And then the rest you can't really see because this bookshelf is, you can tell on camera, but this bookshelf is really tall because I have 3-meter high ceilings, which means this bookshelf is almost 3 meters high. And yeah, let me get my new pride and joy, one of the latest things I bought and one thing I'm very proud and I'm very happy to have. It's my very own private stairs. They are very tall. And before I had a stair I shared with the rest of the house, but now I own one just for this room and just so I can reach the books, and I'm so happy. I guess in some way this is actually a dream come true for a lot of people, or something they dream of having, which is a bookshelf with a stairs. And while I don't have the built-in stairs, which honestly I think it's great because I don't know if I would ever really trust some random wooden stair that is attached to my bookshelf, which might or might not be well attached to the wall. I don't know if I would ever trust that, so I'm glad that mine, I need the good old metal detached stairs. And yeah, such a dream come true. But that being said, let's start by removing some of the books because we need to start getting into it. Most of the decorations actually I already removed somewhere. I think yesterday I actually removed a lot of it. So now it's mostly the books and the magazines. Those are the ones I'm trying the most because they will be very heavy. But going back, let me get the books. Let's clean them, shall we? This section I'm getting now is it's non-fiction, actually. These two missions here that you can picture in the camera or it's not in the shot, it's mainly non-fiction, but this section is political theory and mainly political theory because for some reason I have memoirs here. So it's been many hours later, around 3 to 4 hours later, and I finally finished cleaning and removing every single book that was on this bookshelf. And now basically I only have the small task of putting everything back together, which will take many hours. And I have no idea where to start. Actually, I think I might start by doing my TPR shelf and putting it back to where I regularly keep it. I don't have all of my TPR books right now in this room, so I'll pick the ones I have near me and put there, and we can start this organization process because we have a lot of to do. So these are a few of my TPR shelves. They are the first ones to arrive at the bookshop. And yeah, now let's figure out the rest. I still need to clean them. And I move around, completely overwhelmed. Like, what would I put here? Do I put books that might make me look like smart? Do I put books that might make me look like your average person that read the popular ones? Or do I do a fairy tale shrine kind of deal? Since this area is the one that shows the most, let's do the I'm cool, I read non-fiction, I'm so intelligent. So basically this vibe, the vibe that reads non-fiction about fast fashion, and the person that reads a 500-page book about the New York Times, which I actually, fun fact, did for college. I read the whole thing and then I did a PowerPoint about it. And if I remember correctly, I had a good grade, I think. But yeah, let's do this vibe. I'm cool, I'm intelligent. Kate Alesi is the first one, and maybe at the other end you start doing the fashion cool books. So you know, I have two vibes: serious journalist, serious person that reads a lot of nonfiction, fashion loving person that reads a lot of nonfiction about fashion. So I think I might have one clean here. Yes. I'm not sure if it fits the vibe, but let me finish this section and I come back to you to show you the final product and inside the rest of this bookshelf. Okay, so far this is going to be my I'm cool, I have and I read non-fiction, because the rest of the books, they are, most of them from what I could tell, at the bottom of my piles. So we need to start another section. Maybe classics, maybe sci-fi. My physical copies, the ones I like actually, are here and they're easy access. Maybe I could go back to the regular place. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Let me try something. Maybe classics here? I don't know. What do I do? Why did I start this? I have so much stuff to do. Oh, I found more nonfiction. I think I'll put one of my 2 copies of Becoming by Michelle Obama here, but I think I need to reorganize something, or do I? Maybe I could put the 3 hardcovers here and then it would look cute. Yes. Found another. I'm cool, I'm smart, and yes, I did indeed read it, and I did indeed read this one. Another one, which is Origins of the Totalitarianism by Hannah Arendt. It's an 800-page nonfiction about anti-Semitism, imperialism, and totalitarianism. And it's a really good book. Yeah, so far it would be this for the shelf. And what else can I do with the ones that I have here? I really need to figure out where I want to put sci-fi. Yeah, I found the sci-fi shelf. Let me finish organizing, and I'll be back with more organizing. So it's been a while, and I did finish organizing the bookshelf, as you can tell, and I'm pretty sure I have almost 0 footage of me actually organizing the bookshelf, and for that I'm sorry. But my excuse for that is that it actually took quite a bit of time, and when I finished organizing was like 10:30 p.m. and the lighting was not that great, and I was super tired and I just forgot. But let me give you a tour of the bookshelf. The thing that kind of, it's not actually that it shocked me, but I was quite surprised, is that I actually have around 300 books in this bookshelf, and I guess because I had so many other things that were not only books and magazines in the bookshelf, I had a feeling the bookshelf was full. But by removing every other ounce of clutter that is not books, I realized, or to be more specific, I remembered how big this bookshelf is. You can't really tell on camera, but it is really big. It's around 3 meters high and probably like 3 meters wide. It's a very big bookshelf, and even though I have 300 books in here, I still have a lot of spare space. So let me give you a brief tour of the bookshelf. Let's start way at the top. We have around 4, 5, let's say 6 floors. So on the last floor we have basically books I read a long time ago when I was a kid, or books I just really don't like, so I keep them way high up because I can't really easily access them. Also some magazines, some older magazines I own. In the second floor we have here again magazines, and here is basically a section because my mom is building a bookshelf that will need some books to fill, so I separated these books here for her. Here we have some non-fiction, mainly like more journalistic specific types of non-fiction. Here more magazines, and then we have some feminist books, feminist theories, some memoirs, some more like self-help, habit stuff, like Atomic Habits, the one about the power of the habits. Here we have thrillers, some more magazines, but these ones are the magazines that are more on the smaller side. Third floor, we have some of my classics, historical fiction. There we have literary fiction. And when we come down, you can see more of what I say. I have surprisingly more spare space. There we have the fantasy, some of my favorite classics slash favorite authors like Dumas or Virginia Woolf. Here is actually a selection of books that just they were spare. So I have some rom-coms, some a bit more of literary fiction, Poliana, this type of stuff. The things that were spare and I didn't know where to put, I kept here just so this section wouldn't be completely empty, and again, so the section wouldn't be completely empty, I just put my copy of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because otherwise it would be completely empty. And then we come down, and here is where we get the more interesting stuff. So this part I think I showed you my process organizing. I decided to do like, because this is the section that appears the most whenever I do any kind of call, I decided to do like a cool I read non-fiction kind of vibe. So basically it's mostly non-fiction and my copy of the Decameron Project by the New York Times Magazine. I really like this book. It is a selection of short stories the New York Times Magazine ordered from a variety of authors of different genres and nationalities, so they could write short stories during the pandemic. But this is the only fiction work here. But here we have I don't even remember the name, but it is the Kate Alesi book about the New York Times. Then we have In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, and a selection of essays by George Orwell. This is a book by Nadia Tolokonnikova. I believe how to pronounce her name, I'm not sure. But she's one of the members of the Pussy Riot, which was an activist group in Russia. And this is her book, which is a guide to activism. We have I'm Glad My Mother Died by Janet McCurdy, which is a really quick memoir I read recently. Here we have The Death of the Truth, which is a book about fake news. It is quite more like older-ish, so not 100% up to date, but still would recommend if you want something easy to understand about fake news. Then we have Origins of the Totalitarianism by Hannah Arendt. I'm still very proud I read this whole thing because this is enormous and it is a great book. You have some A Máquina do Ódio e Pequeno Manual Antirracista. Then we have here some fashion non-fiction. The ones that weren't as heavy slash that I could fit here. We have one for marketing, fashion history. This is more like fashion history also. And this is more like philosophy, sociology books. And here I have my hardcovers. I have Catch and Kill by Vernon Farrell, which is his book on basically his experience reporting the Me Too movement. I really love this book. And then here we have one of my two copies of Becoming by Michelle Obama. This one is the hardcover, so I put it here. And Fashionopolis, which is about fast fashion. And then we have Educated, because it features here. And I didn't have another hardcover that will look good in this section. Underneath this section, we have part of my collection of the brand new El Brazil, some more magazines, more recent magazines, and then we have some more like fashion books, mostly the books that are too heavy to go on the shelves, or that I just needed to create some height or just to keep the magazines up. I have this little painting I made when I was like 10, and then I keep it here because I keep it here. This little doll, porcelain doll, my grandma gave me, so it's very sentimental, and I keep it here. I decided to keep it here just to look cute. and yeah, my little board, game board, which I also think it's good, so I keep it here. And then on the other side we have basically my physical sci-fi slash dystopia shelf, and we have the DBR with a cookie jar. You don't need to know. So here is just the DBR, and yeah, that's basically it for my bookshelf. It is organized, it is clean, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.